It's USAC Midgets at NASCAR's Southwest Tour on TNN's Race of the Week next. For the second week in a row, we are back in the Valley of the Sun to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Copper World Classic. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Evans. If you like last Sunday's Race of the Week, you're going to love this one. Here's the menu. USAC Midgets, snarly, quick, unpredictable, and NASCAR Featherlight Southwest Tour stock cars. Now, Kenny Schrader, famous driver, right? He's won 7-8 times here, all in open-wheel cars. You can't buy a win in a bodied car.
Well, we won one, and it was the November race, though. It wasn't the Copper Classic, and that's one we've been keeping coming out and trying to win every year.
You had a pole a few years ago.
Yeah, we've been on the pole, and we've run decent. We got a whole lot of DNFs. Last year it was just flat tire, but hopefully we can change it around this week.
And you got a secret weapon. Scott Hansen, crew chief, he's won here 3 times in the fall race.
Yeah, Scott's got that distance race figured out in the fall, but he's had trouble in the Copper Classic also. But, he's running our ASA car this year, and we got him to come out and help us for this, and looking forward to it.
Best of luck to all of you.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, the Midgets are ready to rumble, and so too is Ralph Shaheen.
Getting one of these high horsepower, short wheelbase midgets around this 1 mile oval here at PIR is a very tricky thing to do. Now, Tony Stewart did it better than anybody in qualifying, setting a track record. This is the one race, Tony, you have not won here, though. How difficult is it going to be today? You start on the pole.
Well, I'm not known as a big qualifier, so if we qualified well, hopefully we'll race even better than we qualified. But, I can't thank Bob East and Steve Lewis enough for giving me this new car, and this thing has been really stable and really fast all weekend. So, hopefully we can catch a break and get this monkey off our back about braking in the middle of these races while leading. So, hopefully we'll do a good job for him today.
All right, well, best of luck to you, Tony. Let's go on down to Bobby Gerald now with another winner of this race.
And, Ralph, that man is Billy Boat. Last year, he thrilled us by winning the Copper Cash with a last corner pass of Kenny Irwin Jr. He started 4th last year. Today, he starts 7th. And, Billy, the question is, can this race be won from 7th?
Yeah, I think it can. The main thing is to stay with the lead pack. Drafting is real important here, so we're just going to try to stay with the lead pack, stay in the draft, and you got to be there at the end. That's where it pays the money, so that's where we're going to try to be.
Billy Boat's going to have the hammer down. Further back in the field, joining us in the pits today is Dave Reef.
Bobby, I'm back on the inside of row number 8 where Doug Coletta will be pushing off in the car number 12. Now, normally his car is 21, but today he's driving Rick Hendrick's race car. 5 months ago, Rick had some surgery and only got 8 laps of practice due to a push truck altercation in the pits. He didn't feel comfortable. That means he's turning over his brand new race car to Doug Coletta, hoping he can push his stealth to the front here at the Copper Classic. It's time to go racing. They're pushing off the midgets.
And it's a good thing Doug Coletta got that ride because he ruined his car on Fridays. You saw Ryan Newman getting pushed off. There sits Danny Drinan, one of the most unique race cars I think I've ever seen. It's his own chassis. Of course, Danny Drinan won this race in 1995. This car's got a real unique suspension. Steve took a look at suspensions earlier.
You know, the midget teams these days are not only showing us a variety of engines, but also a variety of suspension setups. Take a look at Robbie Flock's number 24 car. It has coilover shocks on the front. It has a torsion bar on the back. We'll show you in a second. Now, the idea here for Robbie is on dirt, you want to hike up this left front wheel to diagonally load weight to the driving right rear. You change the spring rate to do that. Here at Phoenix, though, you don't want to hike this up much. You want all the steering you can get at these speeds. Now, let's travel to the back of the car. Remembering, again, the whole idea in chassis setup is to load this driving right rear wheel as much as you can. And Robbie likes a torsion bar setup here. He just feels the set is better and it transfers weight better left to right with coilers on the front and bars on the back. Some of the cars have coilers all the way around, bars all the way around. It's a black art. Everybody is doing it differently.
If you like the mechanical side of racing, this is the class for you at the Copper World. There is just about every possible, conceivable, imaginable, and hallucinatory kind of setup you can come up with. These guys have dreamed up some pretty wild things.
And I don't care how far you go in your open-wheel racing career, you will always come back to midgets because they're fun. The competition is intense rivalries between drivers that last for decades, if not generations. There's Doug Coletta, who picked up that ride. Got a lot of great names in here, and not all of them drive midgets on a regular basis.
No, but there are some really big names in here. In fact, Billy Boat, who starts up front, won the season opening big race for the midgets, picking up the Chili Bowl victory up in Tulsa in January. So he comes into this one as the hot that guy in midgets in 97 for now.
Here we go for 25 laps. The snarly USAC midgets.
Look at that, 4-5 wide. A lot of touching going on in there.
Bumper cars up front.
But you know, Steve, there is one guy not in this field, Davey Hamilton, not making this show. Davey had problems mechanically. He didn't make the call, and Ted Hines gets the nod.
Danny Drinan, Tracy Hines, Kenny Irwin, Tony Stewart, Billy Boat, the whole pack up front. Billy Boat also won the famous Thanksgiving night turkey trot race in 1996. He closed out the season at the new Paris Auto Raceway.
Boy, there's a lot of tight racing going on here as they dive into one.
And this is the fastest speeds the midgets see anywhere in the country. Whoa, it bites one of them. Number 67, Chad Nichols down in the turn 1-2 area. 24X, Robbie Flock also involved. The car I did the suspension piece on. I didn't touch a thing, Robbie. Our Copper World Classic coverage continues to Phoenix. We're still under caution. Bobby Gerald, what's going on down in the pits?
Well, the problems continue for Kenneth Nichols in car number 16. At first, it was a seatbelt problem even before they took the green flag. Now, a problem with the brakes on the left rear. They're coming in trying to get it changed very quickly and get him back out into the action. He's not losing any laps because yellow flag laps do not count in the Copper World Classic.
Kenneth Nichols had a top 10 finish here last year, Steve, but he's going to go laps down now.
Boy, Danny Drinan was on the gas maybe a little bit too early. He is busted free of this group.
Boy, that's what you want to do if you can get away with it. You want to build as much gap as you can between you and this fierce pack behind him. And boy, Drinan played that one beautifully.
Well, they just come so close to each other. Let's check in on Doug Coletta, the number 12 car right to the center of your screen, the white car with the kind of orange number. Doug is not only an accomplished race car driver, he is a 747 captain and handles all the crew assignments for Coletta Flying Services.
Well, I guess if your last name is Coletta, you got to be able to fly the big ones, don't you?
It's in the jeans.
There is some great 3, 4, and even 5 wide racing going on around this 1 mile racetrack with these guys as we go back up front. Now, Drinan's car, it's home built. It even says it's a Drinan right on the roll cage up front. Danny's car was very quick during practice. It was suffering some mechanical gremlins during qualifying. And they can hold together here today, Steve. It could be the race-winning machine.
Well, Drinan is rapidly being caught and maybe passed by 9X Tony Stewart. 91 Kenny Irwin also right there. Tony Stewart now out front.
Tony looking to break that Copper World jinx. I know he's really had some frustrating luck with race. Oh, this is going to be a great fight. Look at this, trying to go right back underneath him.
Oh, yeah, great stuff. Tony Stewart challenges back.
Well, this is just a great fight. And Irwin down to the inside. And they're going to catch up to the back of Tracy Hines. Well, of course, Davey Hamilton's not in the show. Let's check in with Bobby Gerald, who's with Davey.
Well, Davey Hamilton hopes to be racing in this. How much is this hurting you to have to sit here and watch?
Yeah, this is tough, especially when I see these front runners. We were supposed to start 6th in this race. I think we had a good shot at them, but it's a good race to watch anyway.
It is a good race, Davey, and we're certainly enjoying it from our vantage point. And I got a funny feeling the guys inside the cockpit are having more fun than us.
Here's a great fight for the 4th position between 15, Billy Boat, 26, Ryan Newman. Newman trying to make the pass, but can't quite get it done. A lot of people expect big things from Billy Boat in the years to come. He's a very young guy with a bright future.
Of course, Billy won this race last year. And look at this. Newman to the inside. He'll take the lead, or the position, I should say. But taking it and holding it, 2 different things.
If these cars were to be named today, would they be horizontally and vertically challenged race cars?
It's a pretty good idea.
Well, we call them midgets. They've been calling them midgets for about 65 years. They may be short on stature, but they're long on excitement.
Well, just like I said, keeping it is a whole other deal.
Whoa, hiking that left front wheel up there like they really don't want to do at these speeds. Tony Stewart has checked out and left no forwarding address.
Tony Stewart really, really wants a Copper World victory, Steve. More than just about anything. I know he'd like that one at Indy, too. But this is something that's very important to Tony. Of course, growing up on open-wheeled racing, the copper world is a big thing to him. Look at Wally Pancratz running back in 12th. He's got a handful of people with him.
Yeah, Doug Galetta is mired in 16th place. Back to Tony Stewart, you can hear it in his voice when you talk to him.
Yeah, you really can. And as we watch this fight, Tony, who's been struggling so much with getting to the finish of some of these other races he's been contesting, it's got to be just a phase, Steve. I think Tony Stewart is a driver we're going to be talking about with the term legendary in a few years. Well, there's some great racing action in there.
And you go through the pits, really like the nuts and bolts out of racing. Take a look at the cal of these engines. And I mean, everybody is doing something different with their engines, just like they are with their suspensions. That's what's the fun of it, really, is you can go out and try a whole lot of stuff.
That's it. Taking a look at this fight in there, this is 98 Rick Moss. And back up front with Tony Stewart. Of course, this is a three-car team, but right now, only Tony and Kenny Irwin seem to have their act together in this deal. You know, I talked to Larry Curry, who works with Tony on the IndyCar program at Menard Racing. And he says, you know, it's a real testament to the crews that run in the USAC Midget Series. And here I come out with my midget once or twice a year, and a good-named driver like Andy Michener behind the wheel this weekend. He says, I'm struggling to be competitive. It has nothing to do with your ability to set up an IndyCar or just go racing. So the guys in this Midget Series are tough.
Well, I think we got a big pack of race cars already here. And that same fight is still going on between Billy Boat and Ryan Newman. 15 Boat, 26 Newman for that fourth position right there.
Well, here goes Newman to the bottom, just like he did before. Billy's not going to give in so easily this time.
You know, most of these four-cylinder motors, there's some variation, but most of them are four-bangers, and it's hard to have a huge horsepower lead.
There
So you've really got to outdrive the competition.
And Newman was going to try the bottom in 3 and 4, which he hadn't done. Looks like he went a little too hot. Sliding it around. And here's a battle for 10. Moss, Pancratz, and Jay Drake going at it.
And you know, Tony Stewart up front right now, he's got to be thinking, you know, I've been here so many races in the last year and a half, IRL cars, whatever, and something goes wrong. Please, Lord, not today.
Hey, 2 weeks ago, Tony Stewart in Orlando, the Disney World 200, lapped the entire field by the 88th lap and then found himself sliding in his own oil. He is, speak of frustrating, Danny Drinan. What a great run he had going. He was in third, and you can see the problems he's got now.
Oh, yeah, and they're huge. The reason there's no more oil coming out of it just ran out of oil. The last lap, Tony Stewart, you could almost put the car on your back and carry it to the finish line now.
Yeah, but Tony is not going to count his chickens until he's across the finish line, I guarantee you that, or his copper money. The checkered flag waves, and Tony Stewart has done it. He has a Copper World victory to go with his many trophies. We'll be back to Phoenix right after this.
We are back at Phoenix. Stock cars are on deck. But first, here's the top 10. Tony Stewart and Kenny Irwin Jr., the wins. Ford Performance Team finishing 1 and 2. David Steele wrapping up the top 10. Bobby Gerald is with our winner, Tony Stewart.
The helmet is now off. Tony Stewart, how does it feel to win your very first Copper World Classic?
It's a long time overdue. We've been so close so many years, and to finally get it this year with all the bad luck we've had with the IndyCar so far this year, it's just it's great. I got to thank Bob East and Steve Lewis with Performance Racing Industries, Ford, PIR, everyone. Is just Hoosier Racing Tire. Everything was just perfect all weekend. I didn't test this car. Kenny Irwin and Tracy Hines tested the cars in testing, and the first time I sat in it was the day before qualifying, so everything just really worked out really well.
How fun was that battle at the beginning of the race?
Well, I just wanted to get out front and get away from everybody. This place is so fast that I figured if I could get my own groove and get my own pace that I'd be all right. So when I saw Danny start pushing, I thought if we could get a couple good laps in and run real straight that we could probably break out the draft.
Tony Stewart gets the copper for the very first time.
Now, what a great victory for Tony Stewart. I know that'll make up just a little bit maybe for the frustrating day he had 2 weeks ago at Orlando. As you take a look at the rest the rundown. Now, the other team car to these guys didn't fare as well. Tracy Hines finishing in 23rd. So let's check in back downstairs with Bobby Gerald, who has caught up with the biggest hard luck story of this race.
Well, Danny Drinan, you were in the thick of the battle, and then something obviously went away. Do you feel like you're jinxed here?
No, I don't believe in that kind of stuff myself. Just put a lot of effort into this. All my guys did. We built a special car to come here and just, got to get this monkey off my back.